And we have a guest in our studio, Mr. Maindas Mata, the councillor for Kamwala Ward 5. He's here to discuss with us, among other things, particularly Kamwala Ward. Good to see you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Comrade Jotapelo. Always a pleasure to be here at KBN, and good morning to our esteemed viewers out there.
Okay. Good morning to you as well. Let's begin with there was a video clip that went viral where, for lack of a better term, you are being harassed by named cadres for trying to correct the situation of garbage collection. Let's start from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade. As civic leaders who have just been elected, for me it's under the UPND, we have a mandate to start delivering quality service delivery in our respective wards. And quality service delivery means you should ensure to say that in your respective ward there is a supply of clean water, there is proper sanitation, there is proper waste management disposal, there is security, among other things. So the harassment that you're talking about took place in Lubama Market. That's the biggest market in Kamwala. In fact, it's one of the biggest and oldest markets in Lusaka, Kamwala Lubama Market. So what happened was that on that particular day, I did a feasibility study to see how we could try and move the garbage dump from where it is in front of the China Hainan shops, which are just opposite Findeco House along Independence Avenue. So I did a feasibility study, and I was told to say that there was a former place where the garbage used to be dumped, not just in front of the China Hainan shops there, whereby even the president, if he's moving, he's going to State House, he can just look on the right and you'll see a huge garbage dump. So we decided to do something about it, and we resolved to move it to where it used to be. But the place where we wanted to move it, we found that it was occupied by truckers. And these truckers are actually hardcore PF members. Those were the violent thugs that used to beat up people in Kamwala and harass them. So upon realizing to say that we wanted to move them from that place, that's where now the harassment began. They started hailing all sorts of insults. They became violent. And that's the scuffle that took place. But fortunately, we did bring it under control. And we decided to engage with the same people and tell them, look, if you want to work with a new government, you would have to play by the rules. What we are trying to do here is to provide for a clean environment in the market so that diseases do not break out. So at the moment, we are still struggling with the issue of garbage. The garbage dump is still there because we've realized to say that the place that we wanted to take it is not a designated place. We have to construct a new place where we can have a sustainable garbage dump, which is collected frequently so that the things do not begin to smell. You know, it's rain season now. If it rains and the garbage dump is big, those are risks for the traders there. So all in all, we are trying to resolve the issue of garbage, and it's not just in Kamwala, it's a whole city-wide campaign. Remember last week, the mayor of Lusaka did launch the Keep Lusaka Clean and Healthy campaign. So it's a city-wide campaign that's going on in an attempt to keep the city clean and healthy, and that's an ongoing campaign where we are trying to get rid of historical waste and trying to manage garbage waste. And just in closing, I want to mention to say that we are still very disappointed with some of the franchise contractors, those people that have been hired by Lusaka City Council and given contracts to create or zones where they should be collecting garbage. They are not on top of things, and that is an issue that we've presented to the town clerk. It is being looked at, and some of these contractors, their contracts have to be reviewed if they can't perform.
Okay. Now, moving on, just 2-3 days ago, we saw that though it's not in your constituency, but you have been vocal, particularly on this issue that has to do with billboards. And we saw a billboard near Munali roundabout. It collapsed and endangering members of the public's lives, smashing cars and the like. But let me find out from you the issue of billboards. Why are you? Why is it close to your heart?
Thank you very much, Comrade. Look, Comrade Joe, as a city council, okay, as ward councillors, our priority is not only service delivery, but our priority is also to safeguard lives and property. And we want to thank God that that particular collapse of that billboard did not end up in loss of lives. it could have easily cost the lives of the occupants of those vehicles. So what we have taken keen interest in as a council and as a member of the planning committee of Lusaka City Council, as councillors, we have said, look, if we have such a calamity, it's an eye-opener.
Okay.
It's an eye-opener to say that something somewhere is wrong. If you look at billboards, there are certain specifications, design and safety standards that should be met if you're going to erect billboards, especially the type, the tower type that collapsed and around the Munari roundabout. You see that on Great East there are a lot of these very huge, gigantic structures. Surely you cannot construct a billboard of that magnitude, and the canvas, the canvas, that's where they put the advertisements, where they print them. The canvas for a billboard of that magnitude must have been perforated. It should be perforated. It should have those holes that you see. If you've been wondering, Comrade Tapero, why some of these billboards have holes in them, it's because they want to provide, it's a safety feature, to provide wind to go through. In case there's a storm or a heavy downpour, the wind should be able to go through those the canvas, so that it does not stress the structure. But that billboard which collapsed was intact. It didn't have any vent holes. You don't have to be a safety engineer for you to know that, say, that's something wrong. And that's why we did come out strongly and condemn some of these billboard owners for lack of safety, for lack of putting in safety measures. And when we're talking about safety measures, we're even talking about periodic inspection of these structures, because any structure has wear and tear. Okay, they have not been inspected. And just yesterday, someone also sent me another video clip of another billboard, which even the screws, the nuts, the bolts that are supposed to hold the foundation, some of them are out, and the structure is rusted, and you can only see to say it's already tilting. So those are some of the things we've taken keen interest in, and we did write to the director of engineering, and we did tell him to say, can he constitute a team to ensure to say that they inspect all the billboards in Lusaka for safety and compliance. And if you're going to find that some billboards, especially the one that collapsed, the issue was one of a lack of safety and compliance, then the owners of those billboards have to be held accountable.
Okay. Yes. Now, moving on, let me find out from you, Kamwala ward. It's a big ward, and there are so many challenges that the people of Kamwala ward are currently facing. How do you intend to begin to address these particular issues, seeing that you'll be clocking 3 months in office very soon, and just recently we had the issue of power cuts in your ward, and the issue of water as well. So altogether, how are you addressing these issues that are affecting members of the public in your ward?
Thank you for that question yet again, Comrade. One of the biggest issues in my ward, in Kamwala Ward 5, and I believe this is true not only for Lusaka wards but also countrywide, is a lack of employment or business opportunities for our youths. That's the biggest problem that we have. And if you want to talk about poverty, poverty comes from a lack of opportunity for people to be productive in society. So that is one of the difficulties or challenges which we are facing in Kamwala Ward 5. And as councillor, I'm happy to say that the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbe Kumsokotwane, delivered a magnificent budget. For me, that is the best budget I've ever heard of in history. Well, while I'm still alive, I don't know before in the UNIP times what budgets were there. But since the MMD and the PF and now UPND times, for me that's the best budget, because the increment in the allocation of the CDF has risen exponentially. You're talking about an increase from 1.6 to 25 million. That is significantly a huge lift, and that will enable the constituencies and the wards to be able to somehow find ways to support the youth and women in these constituencies, so that they can form cooperatives, and those cooperatives can be subject to sponsorship or some kind of empowerment, so that we can have something for the youths to do. I've always been telling youths out there, and even in Zambia, I've been saying to say that we must begin to change our mindset of always focusing on white-collar jobs. Like yourself, Comrade Tapero, everybody wants to dress in a polo neck and a jacket and sit in an office which is air-conditioned. I mean, how many jobs of such nature can we provide? Okay, they are limited. So we are encouraging youths to be enterprising, to be entrepreneurs, because the economic base of this country which is based mostly on mining. We are trying to improve in agriculture and manufacturing and trade, can only be grown if the youths who are down there and the women begin to take up initiatives, come up with cooperatives and ideas of how they can survive, how they can participate. Can they be tailors? Can they be chefs? Can they be welders? Can they do all sorts of crafts? If they can do that, then we can work with them through the CDF to ensure to say that. So those project proposals, of course, embodied under cooperatives, can be sponsored so that youth can have something to do. That's the number one thing. The number two thing, you're talking about service delivery when you talk about power blackouts and water and sanitation. These are historic problems. They've been there through the PF regime, and I'll continue talking about the PF regime. Some people say, why are you talking about
Why are you talking about the PF regime?
We can't forget the damage that has been done by the PF regime. 90% of the problems that we are facing as a New Dawn government were created by the PF regime. Massive corruption, massive looting, massive waste of resources in the institutions of government and even in some quasi-government institutions. Those have led to a severe bankruptcy or inability or lack of what you call capacity. I'll give you an example of lack of capacity. In the city council, Lusaka City Council only has 2 tipper trucks, 1 grader, okay, for the whole Lusaka. Now, imagine if we are going to say, let's collect garbage. There are 38 wards and you have 2 tipper trucks. It is near impossible to do garbage collection. That's why Lusaka City Council does subcontract some of these things to other people. So we are saying to say that some of the problems that we are facing are historical. Now, coming to the question of service delivery, power blackouts. I did speak to the operations manager for ZESCO yesterday because in Kamwala, I received numerous complaints around Kamwala South to say that they've had no power for the past 3 to 4 days. Today is day 5. And I was told it was because of the storm that took place. Some power installations were knocked down. So ZESCO is currently working at full capacity to try and erect some of these facilities that have been knocked down. Some transmission lines were cut, some poles, they fell. So you have to realize to say that this is an integrated system. So if a power installation is knocked up somewhere, you obviously have to switch off power in order to rectify those issues, and that affects other people. Okay. But they assured me to say that on top of things, the situation will be normalized soon. So for power, we are still engaging with ZESCO so that we can see ways and means in which they can be better able to deliver service.
Okay.
Yes.
So in conclusion, let me find out from you, Councillor. Kamwala Ward, despite the challenges that it's facing out there, you being the councillor, how do you intend to work with members of the community now that the budget is out so that service delivery can be enhanced?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And I think let me take this opportunity to educate the residents of our respective wards, not just Kamwala Ward 5, but the country in general, because the system of empowerment through the CDF is the same. Okay, the first thing that people must understand about development at a ward level, that's at the grassroots level, is that you have what you call ward development committees. Okay, now the ward development committees consist of ordinary members of the public, ordinary members of society, such as yourself as a media person. You are also able to contest for election in the ward development committee. The idea is to have people from all types of sectors. They can be in the police service, they can be in the teaching service, they can be civil servants, to bring them on board as long as they are representatives of the various zones. The idea is that this ward development committee must be able to go down to the grassroots and call for what you call town hall meetings. These things were never done in the during the PF regime, because for you to talk about development or to talk about projects in any given ward, you have to engage the people in those wards. Because Comrade Jota Pero, you might say, oh, they need a borehole here. Meanwhile, there is piped water. You might say, oh, they need a road here. Meanwhile, their priority is flushable toilets. So these ward development committees have to engage in consultation with the people on the grassroots. They don't have to belong to political parties. They don't have to be educated. They don't need to be special. But as long as they live in that ward, they have to be consulted. And meetings must be called by the Ward Development Committee in various zones to sit down with them to say, here is the CDF, here is the allocation that has come to this particular ward. Can we identify our priority needs? what our priority needs. Is it roads that are needed? Is it drainages that are needed? Do we need to enhance security? Do we need to put up security lights? Or do we need to come up with empowerment projects for our women and our youths who want to come up with businesses? What are the priorities? Once the grassroots, through these engagement meetings, decide what they want, then the WDC now writes a proposal and a list of those projects and presents them to the Constituency Development Committee. The Constituency Development Committee now assesses those programs and says, okay, according to the list that you have, here is how much we are allocating to the ward. And when that allocation is done, the money, please, the money does not come to the pocket of the councillor or the MP. We don't even sign on the check for those monies. Those monies are handled by the respective city authorities or councils. So the money sits on the Lusaka City account. Okay, from Ministry of Finance, crediting is done straight to Lusaka City Council account. Once projects are identified, those proposals go back to the Constituency Development Committee and they are handed now to the Lusaka City Council in our particular case. The Lusaka City Council now has got the directorates and the various departments that have the competence to handle those projects. So it won't be up to me to say, okay, now this project we are giving to Comrade Jota Pero, can you do the paving? No. The council, through its bidding processes and through its contracting processes, does that. The whole idea is to prevent unscrupulous politicians from pilfering and wasting those resources. That's how the system has been built. So what the onus for the people is to sit with their various ward development committees. They have that right to sit with them and tell them, this is what we want in this particular ward. And this is what we want to be done. And the WDC or the Ward Development Committee will oblige because they are only representatives of the people. They are not bosses of the people. They have no way to impose any project. The project must come from the grassroots. That's how the system works.
Okay. In conclusion, your last words, in fact, before you talk, your last words, then we'll come to your weekend GP for this particular weekend. Your last words to members of the public out there, especially the people of Kamwala Ward 5.
Thank you. My concluding remarks to the people of Kamwala Ward 5 and Zambia in general, because I've got a passion not just for people in my ward. When we were opposition and when we were fighting for everyone. And I continue to also fight for everyone and try to educate people from time to time. My last words is that please, let's exercise patience with the new Dawn government. I know a lot of us have got expectations. We are looking for empowerment. We are looking for jobs. We are looking for opportunities. And talking about opportunities, Comrade Tapelo, there is this issue of Simon Mwewa market, the Simon Mwewa market, which is being opened just near City Market there. I encourage people to make applications. Okay, get an application from the City Council and then pay a deposit fee of 250 or 150, depending if you want a shop or a stand. Then that will be subject now for review by the City Council. Okay, there are no favors. We're not doing any favors to anyone. Comrade Jota Pero, don't come to me and call me to say, Comrade Smart, I want a shop at Simon Mwewalen. Okay, these are the things which we fought against in the PF. Okay. The issues of it's not what you have, but who you know. We want to change that system of it's who you know. We want people to compete in a favorable and open and transparent manner so that you who are there, my young lady, my mother there, my good friend and brother, you also get an opportunity to have a shop there at Simon Mall. You are entitled. It is open to everyone. There is no underhand method that is going to be used. The tendering thing, the tendering process is open. That's why you have even seen it on newspapers and on social media. It is open for you. So get an application form, pay the deposit fee, and then wait for the selection to be done. Opportunities are many. This is not the last opportunity. There are many other opportunities that are going to come, even regarding the CDF and empowerment programs and projects in the wards. So in your ward, please contact your councillor. If you don't know your councillor, I'll leave my number with Comrade Jota Pero. Call him wherever you are. If you are in Lusaka, at least have the numbers for all the councillors in Lusaka. Call your councillor and tell them, I have this idea and this proposal. How can you help me and my friends so that we form a cooperative and we take advantage of the funding that has been allocated? So we are there for you, we are there to work for you, and we are there to answer your queries. Thank you.
Let me find out from you before we let you go. How does your weekend game plan look like? What are you going to be up to this particular weekend?
For me, weekends are about catching up with unfinished business during the week.
Okay.
We have just entered the office as councils, and you know, when you enter a certain office, there are what you call back handovers. You have to see what the previous councillors did, what projects are pending, and you have to analyze what you can pick from what they did or what they did not do. Then we move forward. So I'm trying to catch up with those files, see how Kamwala Ward 5 is, and see how we can move forward and restructure the whole process to see what priorities we can work out in Kamwala Ward 5. And I think next week, Comrade Tapelo, I'm not going to let this out of the bag, but I'm going to call you on a very, very important issue, which is of importance to the people of Kamwala Ward 5. We're going to be giving them a very, very big gift, which the PF failed to do in the past 5 years. So I'm keeping that as a secret. But you are the media, you'll be the first to know about that one.
Okay.
Yes.
So, members of the public out there, our dear esteemed viewers and the people of Kamwala Ward 5, we wait to see what the councillor here will have for us when he decides to let the cat out of the bag on that particular day. However, thank you so much for making an appearance on the Weekend Game Plan.
Thank you, Comrade. It was a pleasure.
Okay, so there you have it. That was the edition of the Weekend Game Plan. Thank you so much, everybody that joined us, and thank you so much for allowing us to come through into your homes this particular morning and keep you company. I have been your host, from me, Tapelo Jos Mata, and my colleague was here with you earlier, Enoch Piri. It's goodbye and God bless.